What's going on, Guardians? It's Tizzle here, and in this video, I want to talk about some exotic armor pieces that are going to go hard in episode Revenant. The artifact is stasis themed, and it looks like stasis will be in full force come Tuesday. As such, I would like to remind everyone that I've made subclass school videos breaking down almost everything you need to know about the stasis subclass. Unfortunately, those videos were made before the final shape, so there's nothing on frost armor. My life is super busy right now, but I will try to do a deep dive on frost armor by Tuesday so you guys can be ready for the new episode. I've also made guides on the best weapons to have ready for this season as well, so check that video out. And if you've already seen that video, you may be wondering, what armor and builds should you pair with these weapons? Well, in the twit on Thursday, Bungie showcased some huge changes to some exotics. Lucky Pants finally got nerfed and young Ahamkara's spine finally got buffed, among other changes. But for this video, I want to focus on some exotics that will shine with stasis specifically. I want to start on Titan because Titan has one of my favorite niche stasis builds in the game, and it is buffing a hugely underused exotic as well. So let's start with the big buff that is coming, and that is to Icefall Mantle. It is basically getting a complete rework. Right now, it gives you an overshield and a stasis weapon boost, but now it will do the following. You will gain frost armor for rapid stasis final blows, and each time you gain a stack of frost armor from any source, you will heal for a small amount. The unique class ability granted by Icefall Mantle now provides maximum stacks of frost armor instead of its custom overshield, and you will also immediately heal for each stack that gets added. It no longer prevents sprinting or jump abilities, and it now works when Thruster is equipped. To me, this is the biggest change of all. That nerf to your movement was unbearable for me. Class ability energy now begins to recharge immediately after using Icefall Mantle's class ability. The burst of stasis energy now freezes combatants and slows players, and it no longer provides bonus stasis weapon damage. And it now requires a stasis super to be equipped to benefit from its exotic effects, which means we will be able to use it on Prismatic as well. So this thing is getting a massive glow up, and it's looking to be very powerful. It's one of the easiest ways to get frost armor in the game, and frost armor has a ton of synergy on the artifact next season. I'm really excited to get my hands on this one and make a super fun build for you guys. Now on to the next Stasis Titan exotic with one of my personal favorites, the Cadmus Ridge Lance Cap. I used this a decent bit in Season of the Wish and was able to beat Legend Onslaught with it, and my buddy Time Lord also soloed the Cosmodrome Battleground GM with it, and it works wonders. This thing is incredibly slept on, and next season it's set to shine. It says they removed the stasis weapon requirement, but this hasn't been a requirement for at least 6 months, as I've used it to great effect with Revision 0. It's honestly one of my favorite pairings to pair with this exotic. And then it says you need a stasis super, so again, it will work with Prismatic. And finally, it says directly hitting a powerful combatant with a Diamond Lance will now create 3 stasis crystals, so this should work on things like champions now, where before it only worked on bosses and vehicles. Suffice it to say, this build is going to be eating well next season, and I can't wait to showcase my specific build for it. Peacekeepers are getting a rework to give SMGs a damage buff, which could pair nicely with the newly buffed Huckleberry and Teraba, and another exotic that should shine next season is the no backup plans. Anti-barrier shotgun is on the artifact, and that exotic is based purely around using shotguns to their max potential, so don't sleep on it. But back to stasis focused exotics, there's also Hoarfrost Z if you're into that. Personally, I think Icefall Mantle and Cadmus Ridge Lance Cap will be much stronger, but it is stasis-centric nonetheless. And this next one works with any subclass, but thanks to the synergies with stasis weapons next season, Precious Scars could go really hard. Frost Armor is great for damage mitigation, but getting health back on kills from restoration from this exotic could be extremely powerful. Onto Warlocks, the Balador's Wrathweavers are getting another buff. I'm not sure how the first buff works exactly, but the shatter damage of targets frozen by Shadebinder will be 100% more damage regardless of who breaks them out. I'm guessing that means that if you freeze enemies with your super, they will take double damage even if your teammate shatters the enemy. And then granting frost armor to your allies with either Frost Pulse or your Super Pulse gives super energy. I'm very curious how this will work while in super. If it gives large chunks of your super back, then this could make the super last a really long time, which could be very strong in the right situations, so don't sleep on these. Of course, Balador's big brother, the Osmiomancy gloves, will also shine next season. These give you an additional cold snap, and while their seeker distance and speed is being nerfed, this shouldn't hurt you much in PvE. They are still the king of Shadebinder exotics, and we will see if the new Warlock robes Rhyme Coat Raiment can take their place. And speaking of that, If you are unaware, each class is getting a new stasis themed exotic in the next episode, so obviously we can mess around with those as well. Warlocks have these robes, the Titan is getting Blastwave Striders, and Hunter is getting the Mask of Fealty. If you want more information, then Datto has a really good video going over them. Obviously those will also be good to mess around with, but I have no experience with them yet, so I can't give too much advice. So I will stick with the exotics we currently have access to so you can craft a build around them for when Tuesday launches. I Have Another World is another decent Warlock exotic that pairs nicely on Stasis, and you don't have to think about it much, as it just passively buffs your ability cooldowns. And one more that isn't subclass specific but that can pair nicely with Stasis weapons if you build around them is Mantle of Battle Harmony. It can give you ×4 weapon surge when your super bar is filled, and it can fill your super meter very quickly when you don't have it yet. It's just a great general play exotic. And finally, onto the Hunter, the first one we are going to talk about is Renewal Grasps. I love this exotic and have been wanting to make a dedicated build video on them since March. I'll get that build video out as soon as possible in the next episode, so be sure to keep your eye out for it. It makes your Duskfield grenades huge and pairs amazingly with Touch of Winter. It is also decent on Prismatic if that's your jam, but yeah, definitely get a build ready for these things. Onslaught is back and they have amazing area denial, which is crucial in that game mode. Back when Onslaught launched, I made a video talking about how Stasis was the meta for Onslaught, and I truly believe that. Many enemies rush to ADU from different directions, and builds like Renewal Grasp Hunters allow you to slow the enemies down and give you some room to breathe. This is an excellent exotic that is strong even without artifact mods, so next season it's primed to go really hard. Another one that is quite niche but could be okay in the right build and scenario is actually the Bombardiers. Now, don't laugh, I'm not saying they are meta, I'm just more pointing out exotics that have nice subclass synergy with Stasis. Prismatic Hunter has Winter Shroud, and with the bomb that these exotics produce, you could freeze an enemy in one dodge. It is a potentially risky playstyle, but like I said, it could be usable in the right situation. Another exotic that is definitely usable next season will be Mask of Bacchus. When you dodge, you do a light shift and you get a ×4 weapon surge for your arc and stasis weapons. So you could potentially get free 25% damage for your whole weapon loadout depending what weapons you're running. And this works as long as a stasis super is applied, so it too can work with not only stasis but prismatic as well. And for general play, Frosties are also great. Way back in Beyond Light, I made a stasis Shatter Dive Crucible build that allowed me to Shatter Dive on Glacier Grenades every 12 seconds or so. It was incredibly annoying as this playstyle was super OP in PvP back then. But you may be able to leverage the same playstyle in PvE this season with all the artifact mods, especially Hail the Storm for the bigger and higher damage crystal shatters. I will definitely mess around with this at some point. Anyways, that is all I got for stasis themed exotics for each class going into Revenant. Let me know down below which builds you're looking forward to messing around with. I'm hard at work trying to get some builds ready for you for the first week of the season, so keep your eyes out for those. Make sure to sub and hit the notification bell so you don't miss whenever they go live. But that's it from me. I hope you're as excited for next season as I am. It's gonna be fun. Catch you in the next one, and take care.